lost in the strings, almost hearing the kind of sound of Hollywood studios. You know, Still had come, he wrote this music alongside the birth of American sitcom. It was the 1940s, you know, sitcom set, right? It was the 1940s, Amos and Andy, the Honeymooners, all of those. I really think of American sitcom as almost the American dreaming form, right? It's this container for all of our aspirational class stories. And Still was writing in Hollywood and film, scoring some films. And so when I first heard the music, I'd be hearing an opera and then the strings would come in and I would get swept away and I would be in a 1950s Hollywood film and then I would get lost and come back and get lost and come back. And so that experience of kind of rupture and rejoining was part of listening to this music. And then finally, in talking with some friends, dear conductor Michael Ingram, we were talking about the idea that all of those players who were in those Hollywood studios were fleeing and in exile in this country, and they had been playing these canonical works, and in fact, it is on their instruments and with their hands that Hollywood sound was born, and that is born of the canon, and that is born of operatic vocabulary. Everyone talks about the composers and a moment where something else could have happened in Hollywood with composers, but I'm going to give it to the players themselves, that those sweeping strings that we now, many of us hear Hollywood, in fact, those are from the opera, and in some way Still is returning that sound into this landscape. And of course, this pairing with Zemlinsky and Still, I think is very special. Ultimately, my journey through hearing this music landed me in the lap of this pairing of recovered voices. And this is some of the dreaming landscape that we've made. I was very interested in thinking about artists, contemporaries of Still, who deal with disjuncture and wholeness. Alma Thomas, Rosenquist, James Rosenquist, artists who really think about wholeness and disjointedness. That's how we find our mythological landscape of the road and the dreaming. So, as you can see, all of these chairs, these are chairs for the chorus, and I have actually put the chorus on stage throughout the production. You really hear in every note of this music, William Grant Still constructing new possibilities, constructing new worlds, and his dreaming of what could be possible for all of us, for Americans, for Black people, for the country at large. And so it feels important to have the grounding in this imagination of a community that Still has built. So the chorus is there the whole time, reminding us of this dreaming landscape.
With this being Black History Month, I can look back at the people who have influenced me the most as creatives and artists, and I can say it's a wide variety, from Stevie Wonder to Leontine Price to Sarah Collier from my church. I'll say right now, the one person I can just zone in on, because she just passed, was my teacher, Dr. Lena McLinn. She was my high school teacher, and she said to me, "You are a opera singer." And I told her, "Black people don't sing opera." And she looked at me and said, "Yes, they do." And she said, "Turn around and look at the wall in our high school room." And it had William Warfield, Leontine Price, and George Shirley on the wall. And she said, "That's you." And she just sat down at the piano and started playing Rejoice Greatly at 120 and said, "Read it." And I remember sitting there frozen like, "Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice." And she was like, "This is who you are." And she made me join competitions and pushed me to be who I was. And she just passed recently. And without her guidance, I wouldn't be sitting right here doing an interview with you.